President-elect Ferdinand Marcos Jr. seeking a budget review for different agencies to reallocate some funds to the health and education sectors. That's according to incoming Labor Secretary Bienvenido Laguesma. He says the directive was issued during a recent meeting.
Merong isang mahalagang binilin si President-elect Bongbong Marcos, yung reviewin at saka i-recast yung budgets ng different departments, no? Kung pwede, mangyari na iukol ang available na government resources during this time, no? Onwards, no? Pro 2022, doon po sa may kinalaman sa health, kalusugan, education.
Laguesma says reports that many Filipinos do not know how to read and write prompted Marcos's directive. He adds the meeting also touched on the importance of teaching manners. Vice President-elect Sara Duterte Carpio will oversee the Department of Education.
At dinagdagan pa yan sa pulong na dapat meron din good manners and right conduct para naman ma-develop din yung kahandaan at yung pagiging moral fiber ng society natin ay tumatag.
Capitalizing on domestic tourism is still the way forward for incoming Philippine Tourism Secretary Cristina Frasco. She said the need to promote local tourism became even more important during this pandemic amid the constant threat of international border lockdowns. But she notes this means investing more on the necessary infrastructure to make local tourist spots more accessible.
I think that having a very, very strong foundation for the industry is very important. And that means investing heavily in infrastructure as far as improving the connectivity and access to our tourist sites. So that means coordination closely with the relevant government agencies for the improvement of roads, bridges, access to seaports, airports, as well as modes of public transportation. I think that the introduction of technology and innovation is also very important, as that is what the pandemic has taught us, that you can actually continue to market your products by way of digitalization, by way of mobile applications, through online platforms, notwithstanding the restrictions of physical contact. So providing our lesser-known tourist destinations with access through digitalization and through the introduction of online platforms that can shed light on them, I think, is also very important. President-elect Bongbong Marcos is also interested in improving the overall tourist experience, whether it's a domestic or foreign tourists, to make it convenient to come to the Philippines, to travel through the Philippines, and to stay in the Philippines. I think it's also very important to adopt a multidimensional approach to tourism, in that we capitalize not only on the beauty of our natural resources, but also on the wealth of talent of our people, as well as the products that they produce, including food, clothing, other items that could be marketable as well, both to local and foreign tourists. What the pandemic has also taught us, especially with the restrictions on travel from abroad, is that it's very important to capitalize on domestic tourism and to not be solely dependent on foreign tourism alone. In Cebu, immediately after some of the lockdowns were lifted, our hotels, our tourist destinations, even our local products were taken advantage, or rather were availed of by our local tourists. And we could see that there is now an ability by domestic tourists to also help sustain the tourism economy. Lastly, we've seen how negatively impacted tourism stakeholders and frontliners have been because of the pandemic and typhoons, calamities, and such. And so it's also very important to provide social protections for them
Okay.
to ensure that they feel the hand of government help them, especially in times of need.
Okay.